All right, we are going to be looking at some new lessons today. So hopefully you've got some handouts. If not, we'll get those to you. So we're going to start with this handout here, and this handout is going to go on page 7. So open up to page 7, and on page 7, you're going to cut out this top portion. Any supplies that you may need will be in the back of the room. Please make sure to share all supplies. Okay. We're also going to take this sheet and we're going to number each box. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and you're actually going to glue it in just like that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to have you do is take this sheet and cut out each individual one. Okay, so let's cut that out. Okay, so now that all of our pieces are cut out, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out, and you can work with the person beside you, you're going to figure out which one goes where. Okay, so we've got 3 categories. We have definition, illustration, and naming. Okay, so you may want to start by separating them into definitions. So these long wordy ones are definitions. Naming would kind of look like something like this, or a naming one would look like this. It's kind of bold print, less words. And then this here, these are illustrations, okay? Just kind of pictures of what they might look like, okay? So when you are done, you have them all lined up, go ahead and flip them over, like definition of a point. We'll just do that one together. Remember, a definition has no, or a point has no dimension. Part of a line, raise. Okay, right here. An object with no thickness that extends indefinitely in 2 directions. Nope. An exact location in space with indefinite shape and size. A flat surface. Okay, so looks like this one will be our point. So point definition will go there. On the back of it, you're going to write the number. So 1. That way you can easily see what was right. Okay, I will have a paper clip for you. You're going to glue the big sheet in on this page, and then we will paper clip. I'll get you a paper clip, and we're just going to paper clip all of these right to the top here so that we can hold those. Okay, so we'll give you some time here to work on all of that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and turn to page 8 in your notebook, and we're just going to take some notes here on page 8. Kind of look at some additional notation that we're going to have here down the road. So this will be notation to know. Okay, so this is some symbols that you're really going to want to know. Okay, number 1, we'll start with things that we've gone over already. So number 1 would look like this. And that stands for line AB. We can have a portion of a line, and this would be a ray AB. We also have, from your little sheet there, an opposite ray, and opposite rays are just both parts of the line. Okay? And then the smallest portion of a line is a segment, AB. Okay, then we're going to get into some things that we haven't necessarily talked about. You know what that symbol is. That means equal. We have a symbol very similar to that, and that symbol looks like that, and it means congruent. Okay, if two things are congruent, that means they are the exact same measure. Okay, so we might write something like segment XY is congruent to segment AB. Okay, that's how we could use that one. Okay, we have this symbol, which means intersect. So you could say something like line XY intersects segment XA. Okay, and actually with this one, I know that they intersect at point X because both of those have X in it. So intersect, kind of an upside down U. The next one is parallel. It's two vertical lines. Okay, so parallel. You could say something like line AB is parallel to line CD. Okay, those two are parallel, meaning they're the same distance apart. And the last one we're going to look at is kind of an upside down T, and that means perpendicular. So for example, we could say something like segment XY is perpendicular to segment AB. Okay, those two are perpendicular, meaning they intersect at a 90-degree angle. So these are kind of symbols that you need to know as we move forward. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and work on a vocab sheet here. Let me get a piece of plain white paper. I have paper in the copy paper in the back of the room. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and kind of fold this into our foldable here. So we're going to fold it first, hot dog style. Okay, and then when we open that up, we're going to take each side and fold it into the middle. And we'll take the left side and fold it into the middle. Like that. Okay, so we kind of have two doors on each side. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to fold it up. Like so. And then each one of these sections, we're going to kind of fold into thirds. So you can do it all together here, And remember to fold in thirds. We just make that S or the Z. Make sure they're kind of all looking equal to each other. And then we can kind of crease it. Kind of difficult because we got so many stacks of paper there. Okay, so we've got it folded. When you open it kind of most of the way up, you should have 6 kind of sections here. And what we're going to do is we're going to make doors on each one of these sections. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the top little door. I'm going to cut it on all 6 of those lines on each side. Do the best you can. It can be a little bit tricky. Okay, so we got this with little flaps on each. Okay, so we're going to call this vocab to know. Okay, we've already gone over some vocab, but we're going to add to this a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and tape it in. Okay, you could tape it in now or later, kind of whatever you want to do. If you want to write on it first and then tape it, that's fine. But we're going to take a piece of tape right there at the top. And then at the bottom, you're going to kind of fold the bottom 2 sections up, and you'll put a piece of tape right there. Okay, that way when you close it, you can fold it up. All right, so some words that we've already kind of done, we're going to write over here at the top. So the first one will be point. And I got markers. If you guys want to use the same markers or trade with people, that's fine. We have line. We have plane. Let's see, a green. We have collinear. We have coplanar. And we have parallel. That's all for that left side. Okay. Now we're going to start back at the top. We'll start with midpoint. Bisector. Congruent. Intersect. Equal. And the last one here will be perpendicular. Okay. So we got all of those words there. Okay, now this is already kind of set up. And we're going to do just a couple today, and we'll do more in class. But the ones that I want to do today are congruent. Okay, so the way this works is we're going to leave congruent, but we're going to open the other side so that we're going to write on here, and you see the same thing all the way across. So when we talk about congruent means, I'm going to get my orange back. We can have congruent segments or congruent angles. And when two things are congruent, they are equal to each other. Okay, so congruent means having, so we can have congruent segments or congruent angles. So having the same length or degree for angles. Okay, if two things are congruent, they are exactly the same. Okay, we can have congruent triangles, congruent squares, congruent circles, congruent segments, congruent angles. If they are congruent, that means that they are the same. Okay, so over here, we're just going to draw a little picture. So I could say, if I draw this segment, let's say A, B, and I draw this segment, X, Y, those are congruent if I put a little tick mark on them. That means congruent. So here I can say segment AB congruent to segment XY. Okay, I use that little congruent symbol that we talked about earlier. So if things are congruent, we can use that symbol and they are the exact same. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is equal. Okay, so we'll flip this open. If things are equal, it's a little bit different than congruent. Okay, if things are equal, they have the same measure. So have the same measure. Yes, they are congruent, but congruent more talks about the shape. So we can say same shape. And with equal, it's the same number, whatever the number might be. So in this case, we can say, like if I have this segment here and this segment here, okay, A, B, X, Y, we'll say this is 3 and this is 3. Okay, so now we're looking at the actual number, and I can say AB equals XY. Notice I don't put the segment above it because I'm not concerned about the shape of it, which was the segment up here. I'm just worried about the distance or the number. Okay, so the distance here is the same. Okay. And let's do one more. Let's pop up here to midpoint. That's something new we haven't talked about. So midpoint is a point that bisects or divides a segment into two congruent segments. We can only have a midpoint of a segment. We cannot have a midpoint of a line because we don't know where the end of the line is. Okay, so if we have this here, so X, Y, Z. If Y is a midpoint, that means from X to Y is the same as Z to Y. Those are the same. So X, Y segment is congruent to YZ segment. Y is the midpoint because it's right in the middle. If it is not in the middle, we call it between. Okay, so we could add between over here if we wanted. So between is somewhere within two dots or 2 points on the same line or on the same segment, I mean, but not in the middle. So we have A, B, C. B is not the midpoint, so B is just between A and C. Between is collinear. It's on the same line or on the same segment. Okay, know the difference in between and midpoint. Okay. All right, we're going to stop there. I will have some kind of homework assignment for you posted onto Schoology. If you have questions, please let me know. If you've been absent, make sure you're getting the papers that you've missed and looking with your neighbor to see what you need to write on them. If you got questions, please let me know.